Hey, everybody, and welcome to day 25 of 30 Days of How to Be Successful with me, Jody Almond. This is real talk. This is not holding anything back. This is giving you the tools, tips, techniques, and teachings that you need in order to be really successful in your life. Now, if you've been with me, you already know that when I talk about success, I'm not referring to necessarily fortune and fame. Success could be for the marital couple finding success in their marriage, or the parent becoming the best parent they could be, or the spouse becoming the best spouse they could be. Success could be being the best at what you do. When we become the best at what we're achieving and what we find to be our purpose, that's when we can say we found success. So, in these 25 days, we have discovered and discussed so much. I've shared with you how you can begin discovering your purpose. I believe you have a unique given purpose, and everybody has one, and you should discover it. So that then, number two, we've discussed how you can develop your purpose. Not only do you want to discover it, but you want to develop it. Number three, we jumped into how that there are predators that are out to destroy your potential. And then number four, we've just got finished discussing time management. Because if you don't understand how to manage yourself and look at time as an investment versus looking at it as something you just spend your life on, then you will never get a return because you're not investing. And if you do not get a return on your investment, you're not becoming the most successful person you can become. So now I want to shift gears in the last 5 days, and I want to talk to you about something else that I feel is imperative for us to understand. But before I do, I want to real quickly, just for those that may be with us the first time or don't know much about me at all, let me explain to you why I feel I'm qualified to share this information. Number one, you see my logo next to me, and in my logo you see that it says Solution Ministries. I am the founder and CEO of Solution Ministries. This ministry is a place where people not only find healing for their personal lives and their soul, but they find motivation and encouragement and empowerment to move in as I enable them through personal coaching as well as professional coaching and business coaching. I help them move into a successful life that they're intended to live and that they're meant to live. And I believe that you're meant to live a successful life too. Most of what I do is faith-based because I've been a pastor for over 20 years. And so with that, I have helped people for over 20 years find success in multiple facets and areas of their life. And so a lot of what I do is faith-based. I do not cram it down your throat. I'm respectful of all people, and I don't want to just push my belief system onto you. So when I implement faith teaching in this, realize it's not to cram it down your throat. It's because it's my base of where I found my success in, and I believe it's where everyone will find true and lasting, fulfilling success in their life as well in their faith base. And so with that understanding, I also want to share with you one last thing before I jump in tonight, if I can. And so with that, I want to share with you lastly that I am also the author of an Amazon #1 best-selling book called Going All In, Finding Success Through Surrender. In the first 5 days of it being published, it made an Amazon #1 bestseller, and it's doing well in the market and been able to see many people's lives impacted. And this is really where the starting point came for me to branch out and begin doing some of these things like I'm doing with you here tonight. And so I'm looking forward to jumping in tonight and discussing. And what I'm going to do as a way of introduction tonight is there's not going to be a lot of notes. I'm not going to dive deep into this tonight. I want to really lay the foundation for you. And so tonight I'm going to be laying that foundation for you so that over the next few nights at 7:30, I can really jump in and hone in and begin to give you some great material that'll help you. Now, here's the thing. If I were to ask you, what is your #1 cause of not being successful? There's many replies that I get from people that I coach with and I talk to. Some people will say other people. And I'm not saying that other people can't have an impact on our lives and influence on our lives, but I believe that in the end of the day, we have to take individual responsibility for our lives. So there is other people who can have influence and impact, but I think we individually have to take responsibility. Number two, I hear people say a lot of time that that another big hindrance to them is that they don't have this or they don't have that. A lot of things that we hear I'm going to cover, but really I want to begin talking to you because when I was in the military years ago, I remember specifically that we did some training in my boot camp, in my training. And the training we did was dealing with claymore mines. And what a claymore mine is this an explosive that you set up and it's wired, and you can do a tripwire or you can have a device that you trigger it and it will explode. And what it's meant to do is destroy those that are in proximity to the claymore mine. And I remember when we trained, we had to train as if we were in a battle type scenario. And so we would have to low crawl out to a specific spot, and we would have to then reach in our duffel bags, pull out these claymore mines, these highly explosive mines. These were dummy mines, thankfully, right? And so we would have to pull these out, position them and set them up, wire them up, all the while they're telling us in our mind that there's other things apart from these mines that are going on. So you can imagine we had 50 guys out in the field, low crawling, each one at a certain distance apart and setting up their own individual claymore mines. If you've ever watched a movie about military warfare or anything like that, you've probably seen something at least similar to a minefield. And minefields are set up as a way to attack the enemy without having to be personally engaged. And what I want to talk to you tonight has a lot to do with that, because what I want to begin talking to you about over the next few days are mind fields. Not minefields, but mind fields. As you can see in my illustration, there's all these different sparks happening all over the place. Because in our mind, there are things that are triggered that cause us to have reactions to certain scenarios and different situations that can really harm us. And over the next few nights, I'm going to discuss with you some of the minefields that I have found that are very detrimental to the success of us as people. Because here's what I know. I know without a doubt that you have a unique individual purpose. And that's where we started this with in these 30 days of success, is that you have a unique individual purpose. Just like your DNA, just like your blood type, you have something that's unique to you. We all have a thumbprint. We all have a fingerprint that is very unique to us. It identifies us. When you were created, in my belief system, by God Almighty, He imparted to you a purpose. Jeremiah says this, "While I was yet in my mother's womb, I was already created and declared by God to be a prophet, a preacher to the nations." Now, with that understanding, I believe that Jeremiah is no different than anyone else. In the book I mentioned earlier, I go with you through the life of Abraham. Abraham had a unique purpose for his life. That unique purpose was to become the father of nations. In doing that, Abraham had to accept his unique purpose and follow by faith the call, the purpose God had on his life. Did you know that in Jeremiah 29, the Bible says God has plans to prosper you, right? In Romans 8:28, did you realize the Bible says that all things work together for good to them who love God and are called according to His purpose? And so understand tonight that I'm from a faith-based background. If you're not, hey, just listen and understand that I believe you have a creator, and I believe that He has a purpose for you. I'm not cramming that down your throat. I think that's a fantastic thing. But here's the problem. Most human beings meander through life, going through the mundane ritual and activities of day-to-day living without ever finding the motivation behind their life, which is their purpose. So we've talked about discovering your purpose. We've talked about developing your purpose. Then we talked about those potential predators. You have potential you don't even understand. And there are predators out to get you in that potential. And we talked about some of those predators. Then we moved on to time management. And we discussed in time management how that we need to invest our time. We need to use our time wisely. And we discussed many factors within time management over the last week. Today, I want you to begin thinking about yourself. I want you to begin to think about how you think. Because this is the thing. You will always come out of a situation. You will always come out of a scenario head first. Anything that is birthed through vision, your success will be birthed through the vision you have. Anything that is birthed through vision properly, just like the natural birth cycle of a woman with a child, it has an incubation period. That incubation period is to get you on board with the fact that you have something in you that needs to be brought out through you. The child within you, if you're a woman that's ever had a child, the child within you is unique to you. There's no other child in the world exactly like that child. It is unique to you. The thing you're impregnated with is unique to you. It, as a matter of fact, listen to me, it has your DNA flowing through it, your blood flowing through it, your genes flowing through it. It's the same way with your dreams, with your vision. The same way you have a vision that is in you. You have something that is pulling you like a magnet to metal. It's drawing you to it. It's drawing you to your destiny. The same way you see a woman begin to develop during pregnancy and begin to put on weight, her belly begin to grow, her hormones begin to change. There's going to be changes in your life. There's going to be things that begin to happen to you internally that will begin to show itself externally in your life. And as those things begin to happen, you will begin to see symbols and signs that you have something growing inside of you. This is only if you nurture what is inside of you, because you do have the ability to abort your vision and your dreams. Only you can do that. The world can't do that. No person can do that. They can sure try, but it's up to you to keep your vision alive. Now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. What do you find when a woman is pregnant with a child? They begin to think differently. I've seen women who partied a lot, and they would drink and they would do drugs and they would do these things, and then they become pregnant and their mindset changes. They realize that I can't continue doing those things because it's not only me that I'm looking after now, it's the thing in me, the child that is in me. And I want you to understand that now that you understand that you have a purpose, you have significance, now that you've been given information on how to navigate your setbacks, now you're beginning to think differently because you understand at this point in our 30-day journey that it's not just about me, it's about what I have to offer the world. But here's the issue. Here's the issue. You know as well as I do that most women go through various stages mentally during pregnancy. They go through the stage of excitement that they're pregnant. Then they go through the stage of really wishing they could get some of this weight under control. Their weight is coming on quicker than they wish. They don't like how it's affecting their body for many women. Then it moves forward, and for many women, they reach into a stage where they can be laughing one second, crying the next. That's hormonal, right? But it has to do with the mind. It's affecting the mind. What the woman in her pregnancy is going through, in essence, is she's going through MindFields. She's going through situations and scenarios where her mind is being triggered by the past, the present, and the things that are coming to pass in the future. She's being affected by all these criteria around her because of what's going on inside of her. And that's exactly what happens with us, my friend. When we begin to try to achieve success, we have these different mind fields that happen in our subconscious and conscious minds. We have things that are attacking us and telling us all these different scenarios on why we shouldn't and couldn't be successful, how we would never be successful, how we will never be able to get through this. It's taking too long. It's going to cost me too much. What if it costs me my friends? What if it affects my relationships? What if it doesn't work? What if? All the what ifs are the minefields. All the feelings of doubts and insecurities involve the minefields. All the things of I'm not good enough, right? These are some of the things we're going to talk about over the next few days is things like, well, I'm not good enough. Or what about this one? We're going to talk about I don't have enough. Okay? We're going to talk about some of those issues over the next few days because these are the minefields that cause people to stop and settle for where they're at versus striving to get to the place where they can thrive and find success. So here's what I want to encourage you. There is minefields laid out. Some of these are from our past experience. Some of these are from our feelings of inadequacy. Some of these are from the idea that am I being a fraud, even to that level. There's other things that are talking about, well, I don't know how, I don't have what I need, I don't even begin to know where to start. There's all of these issues that create minefields. Some of the most successful people in the world are beginning to admit they battle minefields, but they have learned to overcome those minefields. And so when a child comes to the point that it is ready to be birthed, it is in the proper position, it is in the birth canal, and it is ready to come to fruition. The thing this mother has carried in her for 9 months, if she's human, okay, for 9 weeks, if she is a dog, and if this woman that we're talking about, this female, if she is an elephant, it's for close to 2 years, if I remember correctly. So you can see the longer it's in incubation, the greater the size. A puppy is small, a human is larger, and an elephant can weigh a ton, right? And so here's the thing, is that you may feel like I've waited forever to be able to bring this thing to fruition, to be able to bring this book out of me, to be able to bring this song from my heart, to be able to write the lyrics to the music, to be able to become the wife I dream of being, the husband I dream of being, that my wife needs me to be the parent, the best parent on my block. I have held this desire in me for so long to be an entrepreneur, to start a business, to become successful in life. I have held this opportunity in me for so long to go to college and be the person that I know I'm meant to be in whatever career field that is. Listen, success comes in various forms, but here's the thing I know. All successful people, just like all children that are born, if it's done properly, the child and the person who is going to find success has to come out head first. Head first. Now you can come out butt first and feet first, but it becomes more complicated. And you know that as a woman having a child. You know that. There becomes complications if the child, it can be very complicated and very risky if the child comes out any other way than head first. The birthing process was meant to happen with a child coming out of the womb head first. Now your vision may have been in the womb, and it may have been in the process of incubation, in the process of growing inside of you. The world doesn't know the potential that you hold in your unique vision, right? And so when you begin to birth that, You need it to come out head first. Now, here's the catch. Your vision doesn't have a mind of its own. Your vision is connected to your mind. That's the difference at a child and you, okay, and your vision. So what has to happen is you have to bring your vision out by you getting your head in the game and coming out of this thing and birthing it head first. And so over the next few nights, I'm going to begin breaking down in great detail some of these things I mentioned to you tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you the prelude to tomorrow night. And I'm going to talk about tomorrow night the idea. Here's the idea we're going to talk about tomorrow night is we're going to talk about the idea of the imposter syndrome and how you feel like you're not enough. Some of the most successful people in the world deal with this idea of imposter syndrome. And you don't have to be one of them because they've dealt with it. They've released information on how to overcome it. I've dealt with it. I've dealt with imposter syndrome many times in my life, even recently in the past 2 years. And can I tell you this? It's real. And most people, 70% of successful people deal with it. And so you can imagine how many people in the normal population deal with it that never achieve success because of imposter syndrome. So you don't want to miss tomorrow night as we begin to jump into that. And I begin to teach you some of this about how you need to understand your self-worth and you need to understand that you can achieve it if you can believe it. Amen. So I want to help you with that tomorrow. And it's not going to be preaching. It's teaching. It's helping you with true teachings that are factual, that are relevant, and that are statistically based and scientifically proven. I'm not giving you Jodyology. I'm giving you things that are going to help you to find real, lasting success in your life. So we're going to talk in this last phase of 30 days of how to be successful about MindFields, because I want to help you in these 30 days. I want to help you to achieve success in your life. I want to help you to find in 30 days how to be successful. And if you will apply these teachings that I'm giving you, I can 100% guarantee you, you will begin finding more success in your life today as you apply these teachings. It's not enough to hear them. You have to do them, right? You have to do them. In closing, let me explain what I mean. I've told my children when they were younger, I would walk in a room and I would say, they'd be watching cartoons, and I would say, hey, girls, I need you to go clean up your room and make your bed. Okay, Daddy. Eyes glued to the TV set. 30 minutes later, after doing something I needed to do, I'd walk in to check on their progress and find them right back in front of the TV watching TV. And I'd think, wow, that's awesome. They've already cleaned their room, come back and did this. I go to the room and nothing has been touched. So I walk back in the living room and I say, hey, girls, by any chance, why did you not clean your bedroom like I told you? What? Why didn't you clean your bedroom like I told you? Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy. We was watching TV. See, the problem is they heard me. They heard me, but they didn't hear me. They heard what I was saying, but it didn't resonate to the point of we should go apply what Daddy is saying, because he's trying to keep us from having to go through a lot of trouble. The trouble being that there's correction on the other end of not listening to what Daddy says. I'm not going to correct you if you don't listen to this, but there is trouble. And the trouble is that you will fall into one of the other categories that I listed in the beginning of these sessions. And I don't want to see you be a struggler for the rest of your life and struggle. I do not want to see you be a person who settles just where you're at and says, it's okay, I'm living life, I'm doing okay. I don't want to see you be a person who's left stranded on the side of the road. That's why I'm here, taking you by the hand for 30 days to help you. But I want to see you be a person of success, because I am teaching you your significance and how to navigate your setbacks through these 30 days, and that will lead to your success as you employ and apply these teachings. So it's up to you, friend. And I hope that you will take them and be serious about them, using them in everyday life 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Employ them, because if you do, you will find yourself in a place that you never dreamed you could possibly be. I'm just trying to help you folks. And you say, why would you do this? I do this because I'm tired of seeing people like I was, like you might be, struggling through life, never realizing their true potential and their individual purpose, and therefore you're robbing the world and giving to the grave the wealth of knowledge and expertise and purpose that you have in your life. And I want to be a grave robber, and I want you to join me. I can't wait till we get to the last day of all this, because in that last day, I'm going to begin sharing with you some great information about how you can go farther and do more with your potential and with your purpose than you ever dreamed possible. I've got an exciting offer for you, but I want to give you these 30 days before I offer you anything extra, because I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. So I hope that you will stay with me over the 30 days. If you're excited about the MindFields, just type in the comments, I'm excited, because this is going to be one of the hugest key factors. Hugest, is that a word? This is going to be one of the largest key factors in these sessions, because until you can get yourself where you need to be thinking right, you'll never be able to move on into the other areas that you need to successfully. So MindFields are real, and they're there just waiting on you to trip over them so they can explode in your life and try to destroy your success. But I'm here to reveal them and show them to you so that we can avoid them and navigate this thing and get to success that we're meant to have, right? The successful life we're meant to have. So share this with your friends on Facebook. If they're not on Facebook, tell them they can go to YouTube and type in Jody Almond or The Solution Jody Almond, and they'll find me. And I cannot wait to be back with you tomorrow night at 7:30. But until then, have a great night. God bless.